May we have a roll call this evening?
Councilmember Darla Lindsay. Here. Councilmember Mandy DeWitt. Here. Councilmember Rick Roberts. Here. Councilmember Taylor Callahan is excused.
Thank you. Let's begin by, may we have approval of minutes for December 13th of 2023?
I move to approve the minutes dated December 13th, 2023. Second.
Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, thank you. May we have approval of the executive session minutes for December 13th of 2023?
I move to approve the executive session minutes dated December 13, 2023.
I second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, motion is carried. May we have approval of the treasurer's report for November of 2023?
I move to approve the treasurer's report dated November 2023. I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried, thank you. Okay, now may we have approval of the budget report for November of 2023?
I move to approve the budget report for November 2023.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion carried. Let's move on to communications. We have a letter up here from the WAM, Wyoming Association of Municipalities, letter in regard to a new WAM General Counsel. If anyone is interested, you are more than welcome to come up here and check this out. And number 2, zoning and planning minutes, we have up here also for last month. If anybody is willing to look at those also. Okay, shall we move on to petitions, memorials, and complaints? May we have a approval for a zoning permit for Stephen and Tasha Salway of 337 Watson, a fence?
I move to approve the zoning permit for Stephen and Tasha Sonaway at 337 Watson for a fence.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Can I recuse myself, please?
Thank you.
Conflict of interest.
Yes. Okay, the motion is carried. Thank you. And may we have approval of a zoning permit for William Travis Hart of 371 Watson, a garage?
Can I see that?
I thought that was a shed.
It sounds like it's a prefab thing.
It is, yeah, I'm sorry, just.
200 square feet.
It's a pretty piece of shape. Yeah,
What?
is it in pretty piece of shape?
Looks to be. It doesn't fall under any county rules, because I called the county on it. They said because it's under 200 square feet, doesn't need any county permits. I said, okay, what about moving it? And they said, no, under the same rule, it's under the 200 square feet. And I don't think it's a garage, I think it's a shed.
That's what it looks like.
And I highlighted that in yellow so everybody would know where it was going at.
I move to approve the zoning permit for William Travis Hart at 371 Watson to move it in a garage. Or do we need to change that to shed?
No, he put garage on there.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion is carried. Thank you so much. Okay, as we move on, move into the officers' reports this evening. May we have a maintenance report?
Yes, after our last council meeting, both of the tractors were delivered the very next day. Everything looks good on the, brand new tractor that we got. It's not brand new, it's new to us. So everything's looking great on both of those. The other one was able to come off of he had enough air in it, so there was no worries with any of that. I do have a couple of things I'd like to ask the council to vote on, or let me know what you think about it. We would like to purchase a valve exerciser and a generator. We are estimating about 5,000 for those two items. And then the lift station pump for gas plant. We need the other, pump put, into it as well. We put one in last year, or earlier this year. And the last one that we purchased was 14,000, but we do need another pump for, gas plant. So I'd like you to take in consideration for those. We need both of them desperately bad.
Can that be just a backup pump too, and that will,
Yes, we do have one, a good working one, and the other one is a backup. Well, it'll kick on,
When the levels are high, the second pump kicks on. So they alternate, what they call lead and lag. So they alternate. They both put on an hour a week, whatever, out there, but worried about catastrophic failure, and then we're gonna be 6 months out on parts, most likely anyway, for this one, so, or at least 3 months out, I would guess, so you really don't wanna be down to one, you just run the guts out of that new one. Rather get it while we can, where it's a little bit more reasonable than when it fails,
less than cheaper
should be,
to do it now than when it fails.
absolutely.
I can get it then, and then have to wait too, to get it ordered.
Jennifer, can you explain what the, exercise valve, the valve
Yes.
exerciser is?
so we have been borrowing one from the city of Casper. And so it's a machine, it's an electric machine, and it hooks up to a generator, and it helps us turn the valves. And our valves are a little bit stiffer than they need to be and we'd like to be. And we've been borrowing it from them, but soon they're not going to let us borrow it, we need to purchase our own. And then I have borrowed my father's generator to help get that going because we do not have one. So, the valve exerciser would help to exercise all the valves in town, and it needs done desperately bad.
So the exerciser would fit all the different size valves that we have throughout the community?
Yes,
Okay, and then, the generator is large enough, or will be purchased big enough that it can handle
yes,
everything that you're asking
yes,
at that point?
yes, we would.
And
make
those
sure the
two,
generator
those two
was
together are 5,000 you're thinking, or 5,000 for each of them,
5,000 for both,
for both of them?
Yes.
So the exerciser and the generator would cost around 5,000?
yes.
How would we like to move on this? Any suggestions?
Well, I know how important the pump is over in the lift station, so I really believe we need to get that, so it's there and ready to work, and so we're not, cause then, you know, in past or whatever, we've had to have, people come over and pull it out, because we couldn't drop it below the levels, because we didn't have that second pump in there, and the first pump failed, and that's a daily crappy job. No pun intended. So I think we need to have, I definitely feel the lift station pump needs to be.
What fund are they coming out of?
Sewer, I was gonna say sewer account, new money, yes, equipment on the sewer, correct? The exercising would be water.
Yep.
So the 5,000 would count the generator and the generator also, because it takes the generator to operate. is the reason why we can turn the generator out of the water. They could use a generator for other departments too, so,
You take half out of office.
yeah.
Bert
When the
needs
lights go
that
out, she'll have a
generator.
generator back
Bert-
up.
Yeah, Bert should use it. He's always complaining about being broke. And that price on that lift station as well, that 14,000 might include 3,500 for a controller. Because we had to replace the pump controller panel as well. And that was we won't have to do that with the second pump, just the pump. So it could be a little less. I didn't look at the invoice specifically to see how much it was, but I know it was 14 for that whole company, and they might have billed everything together, so it could be less than that. But either way, it goes up every year.
You might have to take that out of the, savings, sewer savings on that one,
On which one?
the lift station pump.
And how far out is that if we ordered it right away?
The shoe, which is the adapter from the 1996 pump to the 2024 pump, was 6 months out the last time. So unless they've caught up in 2 years,
That's what
we could be, looking for half a year out.
So this is the time to really get on it. Okay, do we wanna make a motion tonight, or do we want to, how do you wanna do this, council?
This would be a motion tonight if we're going to do it, so
Yeah.
we're not waiting another
As long as-
year, month.
Very good
As long as
idea.
we're financially have the ability to
We
do
have the
it.
funds without any problems, okay.
So I make a motion that we allow Jennifer to purchase a valve exerciser, but, see, I still can't talk. A generator and a pump for the lift station out of the respected accounts. Does that help? Will we later do that? Possible.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any disapprove? Any opposed? Okay,
Voting on all of this.
thank you.
Thank you.
Motion carried, and thank you. Okay, do we have a clerk's report this evening?
Get caught up here. On behalf of the employees, I would like to thank the mayor and council for the hams and turkeys we received for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Much appreciated. The town hall will be closed on January 15th to observe Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The water bills are due on the 16th, so it shouldn't be an issue. I was informed that there will not be a holiday premium for the Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance this year. Just to give you some insight on that. Every year for the past, I don't know how many years, January, they always paid our insurance. So we didn't have to worry about that in January. This year they're not doing it, so. Wham has, you guys already know that, I put it on the communications, the new attorney. I have not heard from Joint Powers clerk in regard to any sanitation increase. Joint Powers will have a meeting next week. Hopefully, they will have a discussion about that at that time. And then on the table, the council has received a letter, that 2J Services will not be renewing the office space as of March 31st. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Okay, the mayor's report, and I don't have anything this evening.
There you go. I thought I gave it to
You
you.
did?
There you go. I know, I gave it to you.
Okay, the Wyoming Community Gas Joint Powers Board representatives selections are due on January 25th, 2024. Each board member can be either an elected officer or appointed official of the participating municipality. The board meets quarterly and generally held the third Thursday of the month. The next meeting will be held in Casper, March 21st. Would the council please choose 2 voting members for the Wyoming Community Gas Board and 2 alternate voting members. Please take into consideration, we need people who will attend either in person or Zoom meeting. However, the meeting in March is an in-person forum only. So we need to kind of get together and pick out a,
Let's do it in the month, right?
yes,
Yeah.
the 25th.
The
Here in
25th.
A week and a half or something.
Any suggestions?
I have no problem being one of the board representatives from our, and I usually go to the meetings anyway.
I'd be glad to be the second one as a primary.
Okay, and would we like to put in 2 other alternates? Or we could probably just go with those 2,
I
right,
think we
for
can.
now, would be good. So is everybody in agreement on that then? Rick and I?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's not here.
That was too
Put her in
easy.
there,
All right, thank you. Shall we move on to the attorney's report? Have we got an attorney report this evening?
I have not.
I would like that mayor's report, huh? Do we have a police report this evening,
We
please?
don't have anything this evening unless you guys have questions.
Donuts.
6 AM.
I'll be here.
Okay, do we have a council member report for this evening? Thank you, Jamie. All right, thank you. All right, let's move on to unfinished business. We got anything on community improvement this evening? Okay, thank you.
I can just let you know on that, just so you know, I have not been in contact with the guy about the monument because of all the holidays and stuff, so I'll start following up here, probably closer to the end of January, because they're not gonna do anything until weather gets better anyway.
Jennifer, have you talked to anything about hoops?
I have not. I'm sorry. I
That's
will
fine.
get on, Josh Lindsay about that.
Yeah, just, we can't do anything really until March or
Till-
April
yeah.
anyway, but
Yeah.
at least get the site.
Have it
stuff
all ready
with
for it.
Yeah. Those are the only 2 that we have to learn right now, right?
Okay, anything else? All right, let's move on to police chief and clerk positions. As of now, we have 2 applicants that we have received for the police department position. And, yes, it's very good, isn't it? And so we will, move on and see if we get any others, and we'll, have a look at everybody that's putting in for it right now. And then, we'll make a decision here, to be determined here. We'll see how it works out here.
How long?
Yeah.
How long are we waiting
Yeah.
before we start doing interviews? I'm asking you.
Well, we put it out as, until the position is filled. Isn't that what it was?
Don't we want to interview beginning of February? So we have 2, that's, 3 weeks out. Anybody else comes in and applies, we can add them to that, but we can set up interviews for that time. Just depends on how quickly we want to move.
And start rolling on it? I
Yeah.
mean, because we have to go through all the training and all of the evaluations and all of that stuff before, of course, it won't be filled until all of that's taken care of. So others can apply, and if it doesn't work that direction, we'll,
It's not that
It's
we're
all-
pulling it down, it's just
Might as well.
interviewing what we have.
and, yeah, making choices and start.
Jamie, if there's a person that has to go through peace officer training in Douglas, is there a set month that they start a new class, or is it a rolling thing?
It's 3 times, 3 times a year now, so January, May, September, I believe, are the start dates.
So if we interviewed in February and actually found somebody, we'd probably be looking at May, I'd be guessing.
No.
Because they gotta go through everything else, so.
Yeah, you guys are probably comfortably 3 or 4 months out for your psychological exam, 1 and 2, your polygraph test, all the precursors. There's 4 of those you have to meet statutorily, you can't skip, and those take some time. So
Probably more realistic would be September at the earliest.
January 2025. It would depend, of course, on timing, but
Right.
I think it gets very wishful to get them into the 3rd academy of this year, just with the time, and not to put a rush on anything, just that's kind of time frame.
Well, it'd be good to interview whoever we do have, that way if nothing works out, we'll know where we stand. If something works out, we'll be able to move forward with the other parts of it.
I'll work on that outline again that I had given you guys prior, and I'll resubmit that to you. I'll just drop it in your door. You guys kind of have an idea about what needs to be accomplished with each type of applicant, because you do have some qualifications on one, and I'm guessing no qualifications on the other one. I haven't looked. I would assume so. So I think that outline will give you guys a little better time frame as well.
I would be glad if you're interested, I don't know if anybody else can do it, maybe Darla, I know you do a lot of interviewing, coming up with questions for an interview.
There's some sample questions as well. We've got some other agencies that we've drafted up.
Make some more.
Not that we, absolutely. It's just, that interview is not necessarily a regular public official, public position interview. There's just some different questions on there that you guys would probably need to look at as well. So I think getting some examples to you guys would be beneficial as well.
Anybody else wanna work some up? No, I'll be glad to, I do a lot of interviewing, so I can pull some up and kind of throw them in the pot. And then anybody else can throw them in the pot too, and we can figure out an interview process so they're equal for both people. Or 3 people if anybody else jumps on board. Maybe we could have those to Jamie by last?
31st of January.
Yeah, June, what?
The 31st of January,
Yeah,
and then they can be looked over and meet before we have our meeting, which we can discuss but on the February 14th date. And then interview shortly after
early
that.
February.
It would actually be the 19th through the 23rd, right? Because if we wait, so, if we're waiting for that meeting to have discussions on what they look like. Otherwise,
Okay.
if we need to do it prior to that, and then have some kind of a meeting like on the 6th or 7th instead. And it's first Wednesday of the month.
Okay. I mean, we can lock down an interview date, I think we need to get stuff to Jamie by the end of the month, and that way he gets all the date, make sure that the questions are fair and reasonable.
And I'll share with you guys what we have as well, so you can kind of get an idea of what
Either
direction they're
starting
coming
on
from.
Yeah. That'll work.
All right, any other questions for Jamie? And how about the clerk position? What are your, ideas about that now? What was the thought?
We haven't been pushing that, because that's not gonna be as troublesome to, get somebody through all the checks and balances to get into, so. I think we have a little bit more time to focus on this one, and maybe come back to the clerk one, maybe in March.
I think we might have a better timeline on the PD position in February, so we could always look at it again then.
Just kind of follow up with that, get the police one going, then we can follow up and get the clerk one more involved at that time. instead of trying to juggle two at the same time.
Bird thoughts?
No. With, working with Dolly as long as I did before she retired, it was amazing to have all that knowledge at that time. And I didn't feel like I was overwhelmed as much as if I just would've jumped in with only a few months of training. So, I mean, that's, you just say the sooner the better, because you've said it more than once, it would be nice to have them in there. Yeah, we were talking grants and all that kind of stuff, and writing and stuff, and that they'd be able to do those researches for you, and.
Exactly.
So, exactly, I think the,
Finishing the budget year, preparing clean auditors,
Mhm.
starting a new budget.
all of that, it's very important. But,
Okay, so we talk about it again next month after we, okay, sounds good,
Sounds good.
thank you. Okay, let's move on to the,
oh, I'm excited. I make a motion that we remove the old tractor and the old water station, no, the new water station's there, no water station has to be talked about yet. The old tractor, from the old business at this point. Unfinished business, thank you.
Do we have to decide what to do with it?
No, we're just gonna leave it sit over here. You know, we decided.
Got a monument?
Fine.
Look all the guts out of it.
The old tractor,
I'm sure somebody has to.
I did have a talk with Al with Stitch Equipment about the old tractor. And, Rod came in and talked to him as well, and he had told Rod some of the things that Rod could fix on there and Rod could do to it to get it fixed, but it's nothing that they could do, cause they have to give it 100%. So he feels that Rod could do a couple things, he explained it all to us in the office that day. Rod could maybe get it going for 3,000 to 5,000 if he replaces all kinds of things. It's nothing that Stokes Equipment could do because they're not allowed to do that. They have to fix it brand new to walk out of there, and that's nothing that we were willing to pay for.
Right, so could
So it can be fixed.
So can we have Ron do a PMCS on it? Oh, he knows what that is. Do a full
Yes,
rundown of everything that it does need and what can be fixed, and maybe some rough prices,
yes,
and then we can address it maybe at the next meeting, knowing better what exactly needs to be fixed and what our cost is gonna be.
okay. Yes, I will get Rod on that.
and what it's
With
gonna
the
be worth.
intention of selling it after it's fixed?
That part I don't know,
Or-
I didn't get that far.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out whether, because that was what, the cost of it was the reason why we went with the new mower, was because of the cost of it.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, cause they were throwing out 22,000 to fix it.
Hmm.
So that's why we went with 23,000 to, get this newer one,
but
so,
if Rod can fix it for a low price and have it as a backup, otherwise, then we do need to discuss selling it. I mean, it's something we can address later once we have more information, that's what I'm trying to say. We can decide then, without putting anything into it, just have it, Rod do a full diagnostic of everything that needs to be done. And you guys can look up the prices and get back to us, and we can say, oh, that's just way too much money,
yeah.
let's sell it, or maybe it's worth keeping.
Yeah, cause he's saying that there needs to be a couple of pistons replaced, and so he gave Rod a little bit of a price range to go off of, but,
Yeah, if you can get that to us for the next meeting, that way we can make an
yes,
educated decision.
yes, I will.
And what it would be worth after it's fixed, and
After
what
it's
it's
fixed.
worth before it's fixed.
Okay.
And see if it's even worth our while fixing it also if we
Okay.
sell it.
You
Okay,
got
thank you. Any other questions on the old tractor? You wanna take it off the agenda too? You're tired of talking about it?
Well, we can bring it up one more time, just make a final decision.
Let's take it off the old business and put it in the maintenance.
Yes, we could.
It's fine.
It
It gets talked about if we have it.
Just make you feel better, darling.
Otherwise, it may not be under maintenance one day, and then you guys will lose it. You guys will lose it. It's fine. I'll come back and fix it.
discussion on the old tractor. Okay, let's move on to the old water station. And Dara, would you like to, say anything about that? Do you want me to?
No, you'll be the one to talk about that.
Okay, this old water station, you know, we have a 8-inch valve going to the old station. It needs replaced because we can't shut it all the way off. And, we had discussion, should we change the valve or should we just cap it off? And, I make a suggestion, we just change this 8-inch valve, and, at this time, it's gonna be at a cost of around $2,000 to replace the valve. And the installment, and that will cost, quite a bit anyway, so it'll cost no matter what, but that valve won't close all the way, and that's what Jennifer was talking about, the, valve.
Yes, we did use that to exercise, we used the
Yeah.
exerciser, and it did only make this valve worse because it has been a hidden valve that we were unaware of for quite some time until we accidentally found it.
Yeah.
So, yes, this valve is a problem.
So, could we get a motion on what to do with this? Do we wanna change the valve? And, that way it would be over with, we'd be able to just close it off, and then we can move on to what we do with it later. But right now, we just need to make a decision on to, get this line shut off.
Where would that now be located at in the street?
No, it's at, it's in the street, yes.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah, over there by the old fire station, but
Yes.
in the street.
It's not in the street, it's just
No,
off the
it's-
side.
Yeah, it's off of the side of the street.
Okay,
It's 3 feet in from the curb.
all right, yeah, it's not way back in the property. Okay,
No, it's still on town property.
so that would keep us from anything, the 8-inch line that goes into the property, that's just gonna become dormant.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have a motion on that?
I make a motion to replace the valve. That location and be done with it.
I second.
All right, is there any other discussion on this? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion is carried for a replacement valve at the old water station. Okay, let's move on to the hot water well at Contango usage. Contango came to us and asked us about the water well that they wanted to use over at the old Lac 10 facility, and I had called them and let them know that we were okay with that, so they looked into it a little bit farther, and the EPA came out and looked at it again for them, and they said at this time they won't be needing that water for that usage, and they wanted to thank us very much for letting them have an opportunity for that. But they said that in a later date, they may want to use that, so they would keep us kind of informed on that. But they wanted to thank us for giving us the okay to use that if they wanted to.
So that, we can discontinue that whole thing?
Yes.
Okay. And I move to remove it from the.
Sure, it's still my thunder.
Oh, did you already do that?
Nope.
You can second.
Okay, thank you.
Need a
This
second.
move-
We need a second.
Look, we need a second?
Yeah.
Okay, Bert didn't wanna do it.
I second that we remove the hot water well from the agenda.
I feel like we just took Darla's thunder.
Is there any other discussion on this? All right, everybody in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you, motion is carried. All right, let's move on to chickens. This is the third and final reading of ordinance 2023-05. An ordinance of the town of Midwest, Wyoming to amend ordinance 2020-09 2022-01 pertaining to animals to include regulations and requirements for the keeping, harboring, and raising of chickens within the town. May we have a motion?
I motion that we table this until next meeting because there's been some, attorney requested changes that we need to review and get into the new, into the ordinance before we do the third reading. They're very minor, they're not really changing much, but we need to get them in there. So I motion that we table this until next meeting so we can get that done.
Do we have a second to this motion that Rick had made for tabling this until the next meeting on February 14th?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on this? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion is carried. Thank you, Rick. Okay, let's move on to new business. May we have a motion for the vouchers presented for payment at this time?
I move to accept the vouchers presented for payment. I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion is carried. Thank you all for being here this evening. We would like to open the floor now for any public comment. Yes, please.
In regards to the town clerk position, you know, Brooke kind of touched on that she learned a lot from Dolly for being here for 17 years, or however many years you worked with Dolly prior to her retirement. You know, that position, in my eyes, needs at least a full calendar year in there so they can experience everything from tax filings to audits to the monthly water billing to the annual reports to things like that for Bert. I'm looking at her retirement date, plus that year, plus, you know, 6 months or so before that wouldn't hurt. That's 18 months. It's like August. So I know it's almost, that will be February meeting, we're not that far away. Again, only speaking from trying to hire, Bert was fortunate that she had Dolly next to her for so many years. Moving into 2 positions with the town that there was nobody there before me, it wasn't very fun. So I know it's not intentionally put on the back burner, but just don't forget about that and leave that new whoever in a lurch because we have too short of a training time for that period of time with Bert with the office responsibilities. That's my only thought from the peanut gallery.
It was just not for the office, the community also. You know,
Absolutely.
It really is.
Absolutely.
To the best interest.
Sure.
All right, thank you. Is there any other comment this evening? All right, thank you for coming this evening.
I noticed there's a Town of Midwest webpage now that appeared within recent memory, and it was really nice to see. It looks very professional, and I just wondered, is the town paying for that, or?
We have a yearly, amount that we'll pay,
Excellent, yeah, just,
but it's not anywhere close to what that last one was going to start charging us.
well, it just looked
Yeah.
really good and really important in the real world to do
Yeah.
that. So, plaudits to whoever did it. I guess it's you folks.
It was Jamie's sister, Yvette.
Oh, then never mind. Except for she's.
I'll be sure and let her know you said that, Mike.
No, just for her, just because she's her sister, the poor girl. They get a dig in there too.
Yeah, she did a great job. I
Yeah,
really
excellent.
Appreciate it.
Really good work. Runs in the family, I guess.
Not the web work, but
All right, thank you, Mike. Is there any other discussion this evening? All right, thank you all for coming this evening. May I have an adjournment to this meeting this evening?
interesting for what?
I'll say, right?
Any other discussion this evening? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion is carried. This meeting is over. Thank you.